A team is a group of two or more agents who work together to achieve some goal. Teams obviously exist among humans, but you can also look at teams of artificial agents, or even teams of humans and agents. Teamwork is important for artificial agents as often a goal can be achieved better by working together. This can be because multiple agents can do more than one, but also because sometimes agents have different knowledge or capabilities. Teamwork can be very valuable, but it is also challenging as it requires a higher level of coordination amongst different agents. In this video, we'll be looking at human agent teams and at interdependence. We will see the definition of interdependence, find out how it plays a role in teamwork, and how to do an interdependence analysis. When we talk about multi-agent systems, we typically first think of systems of multiple artificial agents. However, as humans and AI start collaborating more, it is good to understand that a network of both human and artificial agents can also be seen as a multi-agent system. There are many ways in which human and artificial agents can exist together in a system. We also call these systems socio-technical systems. And it's good to realize that many AI systems exist in such a context where there is some form of social context and interaction in how they operate. For instance, if an AI tool needs to tell a machine operator whether there is some danger, then it works together with this operator in some context. Or if you use Siri to send a message to someone, then the agent is responsible for the interaction between two human agents. In this video, we'll look at the context of human-agent teamwork. In this setting, the artificial and human agents have a shared goal which they have to try to achieve together. Human-agent teamwork, or HAT, is a particularly promising field of study as humans and agents have different but often complementary skills. For instance, AI can be better at very quickly drawing a conclusion from a lot of input, while humans are typically better at reacting to unexpected circumstances. These complementary skills can be a good opportunity for diverse teams. However, they also mean that communication and coordination is very important. When you aren't always sure what your teammate can do, you need to organize teamwork to get the most out of it. One good way to understand the coordination which is necessary in human-agent teams is to look at interdependence. There are different ways to define interdependence, but the definition we will use here is by Johnson et al. And it states that interdependence describes the set of complementary relationships that two or more parties rely on to manage required or hard or opportunistic soft dependencies in joint activity. At its core, interdependence is about dependencies. In a team, this means the situations in which you need to rely on a team member to get something done. For instance, let's consider a search and rescue situation. There is a human coordinator, there's a drone, a ground robot, and two human rescuers. In this instance, the human coordinator wants to get an overview of the scene, and this can be done by having a look. However, it would be done better and more efficiently if they could rely on information from the drone, who can see the situation from a different angle. This is a soft dependency. The human coordinator can do the task alone, but it's improved by depending on another team member. In another situation, there is smoke in a building and a victim needs to be found and rescued. The human rescuers cannot see anything inside the building. The ground robot can, as it has heat and infrared cameras. However, the robot cannot carry the victim to safety, while the humans can. In this case, there is a hard interdependency. To carry out the task, the search and rescue, both team members are crucial. To properly design teamwork in which interdependence plays a role, a tool has been developed by Johnson et al. This is the interdependence analysis. And on this slide, you see an example of an interdependence analysis table. This table requires the specification of several items. First, you need to specify the tasks involved in teamwork. These could be further divided into subtasks. For instance, you can split a search and rescue task into search and rescue. You can do this more granularly if necessary, so a rescue could be to stabilize the victim, lift them, and carry them outside. Next, there is a specification of the required capabilities. what does a team member need to be able to do? For instance, for the search action, a capacity might be to be able to observe the surroundings even when there is smoke. However, it could also be required knowledge, such as knowing what rooms have already been searched. Then there is the main analysis part. For each capacity, you specify who could do this task and who could support. To establish who could do a task, color coding is used. In the table on the slide, you see 4 different color codes for both the performer and the supporting team member. For the performer, the 4 options are that they can do it all, they can do it but with imperfect reliability, they can contribute but need assistance, or they cannot do it at all. For each of these options, the supporting team member could either improve efficiency, improve reliability, requires assistance for completion, or cannot provide assistance. And these colors help to identify the dependencies in a task. So let's now have a look at what different options we have if we combine these colors. The table here shows an overview. We can distinguish several different situations. Firstly, the performer's box is green. The task is achievable, no matter what the supporting team members can do. However, in some cases there might be a soft interdependency where assistance can improve efficiency or reliability. Then there are situations which are brittle. This means that the task may not always be done reliably. In these cases, we also have situations with the soft interdependence where assistance can improve efficiency or the reliability. And obviously, this is more important in these brittle cases. Then there are situations in which the performer requires assistance. In this case, the task can only be performed if the supporting team member can provide the assistance, which either increases the reliability or efficiency. And then finally, we have the situations where achieving a task isn't possible. These are the situations in which the performer needs help, but the supporter cannot give it, or when the performer cannot do the task at all. An interdependence analysis clarifies when team members need to rely on each other, and they help the designer of the teamwork specify which team members should perform or assist with what tasks. So the idea is to do an interdependence analysis with each team member as performer for each task, and all other team members as supporters. This way you can much more easily see what task division will be the most reliable and efficient. Of course, this does depend on a clear task analysis and a clear grasp of the capabilities of each team member first. From a complete interdependence analysis, you can draw requirements about the observability, predictability, and directability of the actions of team members. On this slide, you see the result of an interdependence analysis for a team consisting of 1 human and 1 robot, and the task is to pick up a hose. As you can see, the required capabilities already show a very granular and detailed perspective on this task. From the different team members' capabilities, you can draw conclusions. For instance, on the first line, both team members can execute and neither can assist, so this task should be executed independently. For the second row, the robot cannot execute and the human cannot assist them, but the human could execute and the robot can assist. Therefore, this task should be performed by the human, but there are certain requirements for the robot to be able to assist. In this way, different requirements can be specified for how the team should operate. In this video, we looked at human agent teams. We saw why teams of humans and agents could be important, but also their unique coordination. This leads to the definition of soft and hard interdependence, and further to an example of an interdependence analysis to show you how to execute such an analysis and produce observability, predictability, and directability requirements for a team.